We've reached Derby Eve, if there is such a thing. Celtic versus Rangers tomorrow, and we're going to be previewing it today. Happy Friday, everyone. Will it be a happy weekend? That's the big question. We won't be able to answer that today, Tony, but we can have a good stab at predicting how the game might go. And predicting if Kevin will show up midway through the stream, because it's all up in the air. Do you think he will?
Well, we hope to have a third wheel with us, yes. My money's on yes, he'll turn up. Consummate professional is Kevin, despite the fact he forgot he was on, but that's neither here nor there.
You've dobbed him in now. He's gonna pop on in a minute and have folk moaning at him in the chat.
I'll only wind him up. He'll see the funny side of that. But yeah, now looking forward to tomorrow, Hamish. Seems to have been the most hyped up one since the last one, doesn't it? So, but lots at stake tomorrow. But yeah, we'll talk about it, and what we say will bear exactly no resemblance to what actually happens. But it was ever thus, wasn't it?
It's funny because I was thinking that the other day that we had all these podcasts prior to the last game at Ibrox, and particularly on the Rangers side, they would have had all these podcasts plotting how they were going to win, and then what was it, 18 seconds or something into the game they're 1-0 behind. And it's bizarre how you do the days and weeks of talking ahead of these games, and then seconds into the match everything can just go up in the air.
Yeah, and that's the thing, the best laid plans, isn't it? It's the same with football teams, isn't it? You can plot what you're going to do. You can plot, tactical stuff. You can plot a system of play, a method of play, and it can go all up in the air, as you say, within 18 seconds or however many seconds it is. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? And I think it was Jockstein, wasn't it, that famously said only a fool would predict the outcome of a Celtic Rangers match. You should sort of let Alex Cameron predict what's going to happen. He was standing beside Alex Cameron, I believe. Wonderful journalist that Alex Cameron was, wise old sage. And then he said, I'll leave it to him, Don't know what Alex Cameron said, but I always remembered that. Always stuck in my head,
Fabulous, yeah, you definitely wouldn't like to predict him. Christopher is hoping for a Celtic win, obviously, but preferably an easy, tense, free game. Good luck with that, Christopher. It'd be amazing, but I don't see it. I think it's going to be just going to be one of those afternoons tomorrow, personally. But, it might be a 6-0 win. We never know. Right, plenty of chat to come, so stream in. There's over 200 of you in already on Friday morning. You're all keen. We'll get onto the chat in a wee second. Just first of all, thanks to MPH Boilers and Viessmann. They are sponsoring today's morning briefing, and as you know, they have teamed up at the moment. Viessmann's boilers are engineered to deliver not just warmth but unparalleled efficiency and reliability. That's their side of things, and with MPH Boilers, you're getting service from the best in the business, a local team that are committed to excellence and customer satisfaction. So check them out. Links will be in the description, etc. And a development, Tony. We've done away with Kyogo. Away with them. Fed up. We've moved on to someone else.
You want a new deal, guys? There's your new deal. This is open to everybody. Old subscribers, existing subscribers, new subscribers. Guys, one of the Celtic Way subscribers is going to win a lunch date with Martin O'Neill. I think it'll be somewhere in the west end of Glasgow. I'm not too sure of the venue yet, but we'll let you know. But guys, for £1, you could be sitting down with this legend. We're going to be sitting down with a legend in a minute as Kevin McKenna joins us. But you've got to get involved in this. £1, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, and someone is going to win a cracking lunch date with Martin O'Neill and have a treasure trove of memories and a wonderful lifetime experience in the process. He's a wonderful rack-on tour, and he's got thousands of stories from his Celtic days, Nottingham Forest days with Brian Clough. It would be a wonderful prize to win. Don't know if you'll get the booby prize of meeting me in the process as well. I think we're still working on that, but we shall see. Kevin, welcome. And Billy Conley's best of warm-up jokes. We were killing time till you got here, but I dobbed you in it by saying you're a consummate professional who just forgot you were on. See, I told you would laugh, Hamish.
I've been caught up with various events at our wonderful Scottish Parliament.
Well, there you go.
I'm chasing my tail.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll
welcome
maybe not
aboard.
delve into the politics world. I think there's enough going on with Celtic this weekend. You're looking very stylish out and about, though, Kevin, I must say.
You think so? I'm out in the West End, meeting a friend to talk about the Celtic.
Well, just saying there, Kevin, one of our lucky Celtic Way subscribers are going to win a lunch date with Martin O'Neill, probably somewhere in the West End. So, venue to be disclosed. But what a prize that is, a sit down with Martin O'Neill. I mean, what more could you want, courtesy of your friends at the Celtic Way? So, get on board, guys. If you're ready on board, thanks very much. But if you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. £1 for 6 months of access. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Thank you very much. Hamish, back to you, because it's your show.
My show? Wow. Very, very good. Right, Kevin, thanks for joining us. How are you feeling about the game? Are you nervous? Do you get nervous before these matches?
Yeah, I kind of do. I'm even more nervous because a lot of the people I'm speaking to think that a win's in the bag, that we just need to turn up, and I've never felt that about any Celtic Rangers game. Maybe once or twice in Brendan Rodgers' first spell, but not now. I mean, I think we're probably rightfully the favourites, but on the other hand, we haven't played consistently well enough, long enough this season to be guaranteed anything. But I'm as confident as you can be at any other point this season.
Do we think that? I mean, Celtic are going to be up for the game tomorrow, Tony. We're going to fancy it, I think. Will there be nerves there as well? Because I think people kind of assume there won't be nerves there, but it's a huge game. I mean, that must be part of the thinking as well. The team have to come out flying out the traps.
If there's no nerves there, then you're not human. You really do have to suffer from nerves, but you can suffer from nerves in a good way. Anticipation and what you want to do. I mean, this team will be well drilled, but like Kevin, I've read a lot of 4-0 and 5-1s and stuff like that. This is Rangers' last chance they're drinking in the last chance title saloon, so they're going to come at you. They know a nothing less than a win does for them. So you're up against a decent team, I'm saying they're a great team or a very good team. They're a decent team and have been hot and cold like ourselves this season. So nothing's a guarantee with Celtic, but we just know that Celtic are in the best and most positive frame of mind and shape that they could be in. The manager's exuding confidence, but I don't like this overconfidence. I'm never overconfident. I'm quietly optimistic and quietly confident of Celtic's chances if they turn up and they play. And if they turn up and they play and they bring their A game, then you feel there's only going to be one winner. But don't forget, you're against a formidable opponent. You always have to keep that in mind. And if you do your job, win your individual battles, then I think Celtic will prevail. But I think in terms of preparation will be top notch. But you have to go out there and just give this match the reverence it deserves, because it's a huge game in Celtic season. It's the one that could ultimately decide everything. So, but and as Ange Postecoglou said, fans are allowed to dream and come away with the wild predictions and say 4-0 and 5-1. It's their prerogative, but I'm more of a realist.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think it's as fans, it's fine to it's not fine to be complacent, but the main worry would be the players feeling like that, and I don't think there's any chance of the team thinking, "Oh, this is us. We'll roll up and win this game." It just doesn't. I don't think it happens in this fixture at all. Certainly not at the moment when there's so much riding on the game. My only point regarding this kind of topic would be, I hope fans going to the game tomorrow are ready for a battle, and we aren't just expecting to turn up and it to be 3-4-0, that kind of thing. Because I think when you're thinking of, we can win the league, and there's been a lot of chat about Rangers struggling recently, I hope fans are going along tomorrow, with it in their mind that things might get tricky and we might need to really get behind the team at tough points, because I always think if you go in with that expectation that you're going to win comfortably and it's maybe goalless at half time or whatever, then, do we start to get on the players' backs? And we've found out with these games with no away fans that that's the one thing that can happen. If the home team isn't playing particularly well, the home support can almost become a advantage to the away team. So I think we need everyone ready for battle tomorrow. Atmosphere is going to be off the charts, I would say, and if we get an early goal, all bets are off. I think it could be a really fun afternoon, but I expect a tough one, Kevin. I think Rangers, as we say, are dangerous because it's their last chance really, and they need to win the game.
Yeah, I think a big advantage to us is that although I've been lamenting the fact that we're having to rely on the same group of players that we did last season, minus a few, and that the buys, the new kind of transfers haven't really turned up this season. On the other hand, they've been through this. They know how to win. They've been in this situation several times. I think Rangers have only beaten us in a proper game once in the last 10. If you take away that dead rubber at the end of last season. So these players, have been here before, and there are more of them that have been here before than Rangers. In fact, I think there's maybe only one, maybe two Rangers players who were around in the COVID season. So I think they've got much more to worry about than us going into this game. But as you said, you just cannot take anything for granted. And I think that's the message that Brendan Rodgers will be giving his players.
It's interesting, you talk about the last 10 games there. We've scored the first goal in 9 of the last 10 derbies, Tony. That's an incredible record, and Rangers have scored the last goal in 6 of those 10. So the pattern in these games has been pretty obvious. Celtic take the lead, most of the time we win, but quite a lot of the time Rangers come back, even if not to get a draw, they come back to make it interesting. But 9 out of the last 10 derbies, we've scored first.
And I think history tells you that the team that scores first usually wins these games, doesn't it? I know it's a stat that Ian Crocker usually throws out there. Every game, every time, whoever scores first. I can't remember offhand the actual statistics, but it's pretty high in the favour of the team that scores first in the derby match. Yeah, and I just think that the manager's saying that Celtic are going to bring the best version of themselves on Saturday. And if that's the case, then I think the Celtic supporters, I think they're pretty relaxed and safe in the knowledge that will happen. And I think the Celtic supporters will bring the best version of themselves. And I think in these fixtures, when Celtic have had home advantage, it's Rangers that have found it difficult. So you just find that these are the things that are slanted in your favour. And I think it was Kevin that mentioned the other day, if I was Rangers, I wouldn't have stuck to my guns with this no fans thing. I would have wanted some representation, especially in a game of this magnitude. And I can't for the life of me understand that, but Celtic have to take full advantage of that and make it. I wrote a piece today on the website talking about generational games. Kevin will remember 79-10 when won the league, the Demolition Derby, and then I brought it up to date for the likes of yourself, Hamish, with the 2022 Ange 3 and Easy fixture. This is a chance for Celtic tomorrow to have one of those moments under Brendan Rodgers and make it a generational game where fans talk about it for years and years. All the ingredients are there. I think the Celtic fans, they're confident as you can be without being arrogant or overconfident. But I think everybody, the team, the manager and the supporters are getting in the best possible shape that they could be in. And I just want Kevin to wax lyrical about 1979 now, 10 men won the league. He can even sing the song if he wanted.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that game vividly. And we were against the odds.
Yeah.
In that game, and again, as has happened so often in Celtic's history, our big players turn up on big occasions. That was one of them. There have been several others, and with the exception of that, one COVID season, and these big games against Rangers, whether it be finals, semi-finals, pivotal league games, we've held the upper hand so often. And I have to say, and this isn't a sign of complacency, but when I think of the Rangers teams over the last several years, this Rangers team is not as good as several of the ones that we spanked over the last few years. Don't get me wrong, there are some good players, some good competitors, but you can tell that some of their fans over the last few weeks have begun to turn on them, and they haven't reacted well because they haven't really been accustomed to that level of scrutiny, that level of pressure at any other point in their careers.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting last week watching their game because I didn't think it was a game that they had to win for the title race. And I didn't get the impression the fans inside Ibrox actually believed that they were, going to win the league, even though they're only 3 points behind. I guess that part of it's kind of irrelevant to tomorrow because it's all Celtic fans inside the stadium. If it was at Ibrox, that'd probably be more of a talking point. I just think I think the support have a really important role to play. Liam Scales has spoken about that this week. Brendan Rodgers spoke about it the other day. We played a really important role last week. Cheering the team on, but also kind of getting under the opposition's skin. So I think someone a minute ago was saying it would be like a Champions League atmosphere. Bobby's saying it'd be expecting a Champions League type atmosphere tomorrow. It's going to be great. Who are the players we're hanging our hat on then, Tony, to do the business tomorrow?
Usual suspects, aren't they? Callum McGregor, Rio Tati, Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo, and I think Maida will do his wonderful job that he does for the team. That's what I love about Maida. He just every Rangers game, he just knows what to do. And I would love him to have another one of his moments against Rangers and score, because he just takes it all in his stride, doesn't he? It's kind of like, what's the fuss about? That goal at Ibrox after 18 seconds and it cannoned off him. I know it's a bit of a freak, but he just kind of looked as if, why is everybody fussed? That's what I do. I chase people down. It's part of my game. And as I said the other day, he must be a wonderful team player to have in your squad. He's so well liked because of what he brings, and he never stops running. And, I think you said it the other day as well, he can beat three men and shank it out the park. Doesn't deter him from trying it again. And he can have like 10 cross balls and one of them will be on the money, like the Jota, the brazen header at Hampden, that kind of thing. So, you just persevere with a guy like that because he's capable of moments of brilliance. But I think that's the key to winning the game. And obviously, Carter Vickers in defence and Joe Hart, who's been performing recently. So I think that whole spine of your team, and that's why you expect a wee bit of joy. And you look at James Forrest's kind of rebirth as well. Celtic get threats all over the park tomorrow, right? And if the defenders do their job, then you just feel that these guys are going to get a bit of joy. And that's what I'm hanging my hat on. Got to be honest.
I was just thinking when you're talking about Maida, he's had some great displays against Rangers. Thinking in my head, pretty much all of them seem to have been at Ibrox. I can't actually really remember him playing against them at Celtic Park. I think he missed the game in December possibly, although I'm not 100% sure in that. But it seems, you know what I mean, like the memories you've got of the Derby, maybe a couple at Hampden, like you say, but mainly at Ibrox, like he's maybe not played as often at Celtic Park. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can kind of replicate that tomorrow and keep Tavernier quiet. Tavernier scored, I think, 3 goals in his last 2 games at Celtic Park. So all of Rangers' goals in those games. So that's the threat right there that he needs to be on. I just think, Maida... I think James Forrest has had some moments against Rangers, a couple of goals he's scored, he's had some other moments, but you would say maybe some games have passed him by, some derbies have passed him by. I think he's so ready now. I just think there's something different about James Forrest over the last couple of weeks. It's almost as if he's he looks like an experienced player now. He looks like he's just not fazed by anything. Maybe it's been the time out of the team, but you know what I mean? Like the way he even comes across in the media, he's never the most talkative in the media, but his answers have been kind of much more lengthy and stuff like that. I just sense that he's really comfortable in a good way at the moment, and really calm. And I think James Forrest is going to do something big tomorrow, but I think Kyogo's going to be the guy again. James saying I agree Kyogo will run riot against them. I think Kyogo's going to score tomorrow. I think he's going to have fun against that backline if we can find those balls in behind. Kevin, is there anyone else on your mind for tomorrow?
Well, first of all, I completely agree with you about James Forrest. In the last couple of games, he has looked as fresh as at any other time in the last 5-6 years. He seems to be a lot fitter. He seems to be mentally in a better place. I think I've seen signs in his interviews that he's taken on the responsibility of being that father of the success, and that conveys itself to some of the younger, less experienced players. I think he's coming into this game in as good a place as at any time against Rangers, anybody else in the last 5 or 6 years. And he just needs to tell himself, he's performed and got us out of holes in Europe. He scored in cup finals, semi-finals. He scored against Rangers. He will relish this, and I think that his attitude coming into it will rub off on other players. I've also been a critic of Taylor a few times this season, but he played really well last week, and he's got such a great attitude in these games. He's such a competitor, and I think also for the first time this season, I'm looking at the entire team, the expected team tomorrow, and I'm not seeing any weaknesses. I'm not seeing anybody coming into the team who's struggling for form or struggling to replicate, their best form. This game couldn't happen at a better time in terms of our squad development, our squad performance. So yeah, I'm confident, and I'm entitled to be confident, but I'm not taking anything for granted.
Yeah, I think that sums up how I feel as well, Tony. Kind of quietly confident. I think we'll do the business, but I without being negative and putting the fear into people, I just sense there might be a bit of complication tomorrow at one stage or another. But I think Celtic have the leadership and the ability to get through that. Are you doing your team now, Tony? Or are you holding off for tomorrow?
I think it'll be up on the website at some point today. We've already.
Right.
But it picks itself, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody knows what the team is going to be tomorrow. Or would be able to predict that 11, with Maida coming in for Kuhn. Yeah. I think that.
Yeah, I'm 90% sure that'll be the team.
The rest as is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's be honest, that's the team I think everybody wants to see. And if they can bring their best version of themselves, as the manager has said, then that's why you're quietly optimistic and confident. But make no mistake, tomorrow you're in a battle. You don't want it to become a battle because that favours your opponents. But you are in a battle. But skill and brain can outwit brawn most of the time. If it becomes a battle of brawn, then that's when it might become, as you say, hairy moments, and you might have to cope with some adversity at points. But I just back this team to be able to find a way with a bit of skill and a bit of brain, and they have lots of gifted technicians in that team, as well as the ones that can mix it as well and can go toe to toe in terms of the brawn and the battle side. So I just think, as Kevin said, we have all our players are in decent form. I think we can match what Rangers can bring to the table, but I think some of our players can surpass that, which I think will make us winners in the end. But you have to always respect your opponent and realise they're going for the title as well. They're still in their minds to win this title. So you're in a game tomorrow. So that's why the whole, I'm trying to ignore the whole 4-5-0 stuff that fans are saying, but they're entitled to have their opinion and say things like that based on what they're seeing. Yeah, and somebody just said, Patrick Doherty, yes, Tony, the battle does not win the war. Yeah, I'm very aware of that. But if Celtic win the battle tomorrow, then they more or less win the war, don't they? So it's the bigger picture.
Oh yeah.
In this one. So and I'm confident in the manager and this group of players to carry out what he wants tomorrow.
Derek has visualised and sees 5-0 as the score. So your words have gone down well there with Derek. To be fair, he'd messaged that in about 10 or 15 minutes ago. Hazel making a really good point. I think a strong bench will play a part. We'll probably have Bernardo, Ida, Kuhn, Palma, possibly.
Yeah.
Strong options there off the bench. And we saw the effect that, two of those players in particular had at Ibrox when they came on. I think Ida tomorrow might be a really important sub. I thought he was brilliant at Ibrox when he came on. Goal aside, his ability to really, it was Goldson at that stage, wasn't it? And he had a couple of really good moments where he just nipped in front of him, because Kyogo was quite quiet in that game at Ibrox. So I just think Kyogo run them ragged, hopefully score at least one, and then for the last half an hour you get Ida on for just a different threat. I mean, the options are there, but being strong defensively, and I think that midfield as well, Kevin's a big part of it obviously tomorrow. But we've got Callum McGregor looking better, Hatate and O'Reilly looked pretty good last week as well.
It's when that midfield is firing, it's the best midfield in Scotland, and as we showed in a couple of games in the Champions League, it's a midfield that can hold its own at the top level in Europe. Again, probably for the first time this season, they're all playing well and they're all fit at the same time. The other thing, of course, and I'm not getting too far ahead of myself, is that the group of players that starts on Saturday, as well as the ones on the bench, and 3 or 4 on the bench will have a part to play if it's close in the last half an hour, is that they're all playing and competing for places in the cup final. There's an opportunity here, late in the season for 2 or 3 of the fringe players or 2 or 3 of the transfers to make a statement, because they will be called upon, the way the modern game goes. 2 or 3 of them will have half an hour, and that could be a decisive half an hour. So their professional pride should tell them there's a lot at stake, and that they can still have a significant part to play in a memorable season.
Yeah, an interesting one there from Scotland the Brave just came in. I honestly believe Rodgers will go Maida and Kuhn. He has stated time and time again Forrest doesn't have the legs for high intensity games anymore. Do you think Forrest is a stick on? I think James Forrest will start, just based on the last few weeks, and I don't think at the moment Rodgers is particularly convinced by any of the new wingers at the club. Kuhn, Palma, Yang. I just don't think Rodgers is convinced yet. I think he obviously likes Maida, and we know what he thinks about James Forrest. And James Forrest has shown recently in the last couple of matches that he can start games and play pretty well, Tony. So I think he's a stick on to start.
Yeah, so do I. Yellow jersey, Hamish. I always talk about that. He's done nothing wrong to merit being displaced or dislodged from that team. And I think James Forrest will thrive on this, the backing of 60,000, roaring him on and telling him to go past his marker and do what James Forrest does. I think players like that, and I think as Kevin says, there's been a freshness to James Forrest, has there? He's just playing like a guy who's just enjoying falling in love with football again after a wee spell out the team. They come back reinvigorated, refreshed, and he's certainly shown that. and shown that he can still be a very important player for this club. And lots of people are saying that they hope, I'm eating my words, and Celtic win 4 or 5-0 tomorrow. I hope that too.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not hoping that. I'm I always temper my thoughts with realism, and and I've no truck with fans saying it's going to be 4 and 5-0. Great. I'm just not that brave to make those kind of predictions because you're playing Rangers. I mean, and they have got something to play for. It's not as if they're down and out in the title race. So that's my only caveat. I want Celtic to steamroller over the top of them, and James Forrest and Kyogo and all these guys to play their part. I'm just tempering it with a bit of realism, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's the way we think, isn't it? Because I think nerves do play a part, and it can affect players and affect teams in certain ways. But as I say, I think that we are going into this in the best possible shape in terms of the manager and the players that we've got. So I guess that's where some of the confidence comes from.
Ross reckoning it will be a quick start from the team. I think that's pretty much a given. If we could nick an early goal like we did last week against Hearts, imagine what Celtic Park will be like. It'll be jumping at that stage. Kevin, final thoughts ahead of the game?
I'll take any win. I don't think it'll be a 4-0 or a 5-0. I really don't. We simply haven't been playing well enough to kind of expect that this season. But I think we'll win. I think it could be close, 2-1, maybe 3-1. My mind goes back to 2019 at Parkhead. And we had the quick start. We got a great goal by Edouard. Rangers went down to 10 men. And for the last half an hour of that game, not only did they equalise, but they kind of dominated until, guess who, James Forrest popped up after Tavernier lost the ball to McGregor. He nips in, passes it into Edouard, slips it to Jamesy, and he finished with a bit of style. So that tells me, you should tell anyone, you can't take any for granted. But also James Forrest knows what needs to be done in these fixtures.
Yeah. Tony?
I think Celtic will win. I think it might be closer than people reckon. I'll probably do my score prediction in the pre-match show tomorrow. But yeah, I'm certainly not going for a landslide 4 and 5-0. Let's put it that way. I'll leave that to others who are even more confident than me. I read, I think it was Steve McGrory, one of the comments there. There's 3 points in it for a reason. The 2 of them haven't shown up well at points this season. That shows you that there's kind of, say, evenly matched, as Steve put it, but I think Celtic on the day are a better side and are better players, but they've both shown points this season that they can't be relied upon to get results. I just think Celtic are hitting form at the critical juncture of the season and have enough to get it over the line.
Oh, I'm not even going to do a prediction, guys, because I just can't. I think I've probably outlined how I think the game will go during the week. Bring it on. We've only got a day to go now, pretty much. It's going to be a fun one, perhaps. Certainly one filled with nerves. The next day or so is certainly going to drag in, but we'll have a press conference later today from Brendan Rodgers. We'll maybe get a wee thing or two from that, maybe a wee update on Dyson Maida. I'm sure he'll be asked about the whole fun stuff as well, and Clement's reaction. The media, what they like, Tony, they'll be stirring it up. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And yeah, bring it on, as I say. Thanks very much, guys, for joining us. Kevin in particular from out and about. One final shout out for this offer we've got going. It's a pretty cool one. When you sign up for the Celtic Way at the moment, 6 months of access for £1 plus, you could win lunch with Celtic legend Martin O'Neill, and I believe, Tony, that's open to long-term subscribers as
everybody
well.
everybody who's a subscriber, if you're an older subscriber, you're in the draw for that. If you're a new subscriber, you'll also be entered in the draw. So every Celtic Way subscriber will be in the draw for that. If you haven't subscribed, hit that button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. A fabulous prize, lunch with Martin O'Neill. What more can you ask for? Courtesy of your friends at the Celtic Way. I'd love to be on it, Hamish. I'd love to go for lunch with Martin O'Neill. We shall see what happens. If the boss man's listening, can I go too?
Amazing.
But yeah, some lucky Celtic Way subscriber will win lunch with Martin O'Neill. So yeah, it's worthwhile subscribing if you haven't already. But it's open to everybody. So good luck to everybody in the draw for that.
Yes. Right, okay, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Hopefully it is an amazing, fun-filled one. I'll be back on Monday when we'll be chatting about the game regardless of the score.